Hello guys, welcome back on another dystopia, and today we are going to learn how to pick up a weapon and switch between different weapons. Okay guys, welcome back. So the first thing to do is to create a weapon actor. So you just right click on an empty space in the editor and select blueprint class, and here you will select actor, okay, and here you will name it weapons like me. After that, you open your blueprint, and on the components section, you will click add and select static mesh for the design of the weapon. Okay, this is mine. And on the variables section, you will add two variables. The first one is for the damage and the second one is for the type. Okay, guys, the damage is of course specific to each weapon, and the type is the selection of the static mesh of the weapon. For example, in my case, I have a sword and an axe that they are just here. Okay, it is static meshes that I have selected for this tutorial. So for the static meshes, guys, make sure to have a collision box on them. Okay, you can click here, show, and select sample collision. You can see that I have a capsule around the axe. Why? Because I clicked here on the collision and I select add sphere simplified collision. And here on the right section, you go all the way down in the collision section, and you search for your sphere. Okay, once you add a sphere simplified collision, you will have these spheres here with one element on the array. So you go here and make sure to have collision enabled. Okay, and after that you go to collision presents and select overlay all. It's very important because this is the detection of the collision between the player and the weapon. Okay, so go back to the weapon blueprint. In the construction script, guys, here you can drag your static mesh like this, and here you will set static mesh. Okay, and here you can select your static mesh. Of course, you drag from the static mesh, and once again you select, and here you can add all your weapon that you want on your game. Okay, of course they are all static meshes. And for the selection here, the index, you will link the type. This is a simple selection of a weapon system. Of course, for the type, you go here and you check on instance editable and expose on spawn. This way, you can select the type of your weapon. For example, here, you can see that I have my type variable showed here, and here I can select what weapon I want. Okay, guys, I hope you got the ID. Okay, this is for the selection of the type of the weapon set on the construction script, guys. Okay, make sure that you are on the construction script. And after that, in the event graph, there is nothing here. Okay, you just compile and hit save. Of course, guys, make sure to set your static mesh collision overlay all. Okay, so you have two collision settings to set, once on the static mesh settings and the other one on the weapon blueprint. Okay, although in the static mesh. Okay, after that, guys, you go to your character blueprint. Okay, and here we are going to set the logic of picking up our weapon. So in my case, I selected an actor begin overlay event. So once my character will step on a weapon, it will automatically take it. Okay, so after, you can of course get your event actor begin overlay here. You will get it from the other actor you cast to your weapon blueprint that you created before. Here, cast two weapons, and you will have your weapon blueprint with its static mesh and its damage variable that you are going to need in further video or further tutorial on our channel. So let's go back to our character blueprint event graph, and here you are going to get static mesh. You go all the way down and you can find your static mesh. Once again, you drag from your static mesh and select once again static mesh. Okay, it's just like this, guys. Sorry, get static mesh, and there it is. Okay, this is the static mesh that you set here. Okay, on the construction script. So now your weapon can be shown on your character. Uh, I will talk about variables and components on the character blueprint. Before we go any further, make sure to have your static mesh weapon, okay, that is just right here, okay. I have a static mesh on my character, of course. To add it, you click here and search for static mesh, and there it is. Okay, guys. Okay, it has no static mesh selected. It's empty because we are going to set it uh, depending on the weapon that we are picking up. So make sure to have a static mesh for the weapons on your character skeleton or character mesh, and you don't forget to attach this weapon static mesh on a socket on your character in order to move it with your character. So to add a socket, as the previous video, you go to your character skeleton. Okay, sorry, there it is, and you select spine 1 or 2 or 3, and you right click and hit add a socket, and you can name it. In my case, this is mine. I named it weapon, and there it is. Okay, it's here attached to my spine. So then like this, my character can move with its weapon attached on his back. Okay, guys, great. So let's carry on with the taking weapon logic. Here you will create branch. You know how to do this, and the condition will be a variable named character weapons. Okay, I will talk about this variable. Actually, guys, this is a special variable. Why? Because it is a variable handling multiple variables. You can see here, if I click on the default value, you can see that I have two variables. Okay, one is an integer for the damage, and the second is for the static meshes. To create this variable, guys, you go to your editor and right click and search for structure. You can find it here in blueprint section and select structure. Okay, guys, this is mine, and here you will add some variables. Click on add variable. Each time you click on add variable, you will add the other variables on this structure, which is itself a variable. Okay, so in our case, we need mainly two variables, one for the damage that this specific weapon can apply, okay, and the second one is a static mesh for the design. So you just click here and search for static mesh, and you click here. After that, the other variable, of course, you just select integer and name it damage, and let's say static mesh, like this. Great. So how to add this structure to our character? You go to your character blueprint like this, and here on the variables you click add, and on the variable type you search for the name of your structure. In my case, I named it weapon list. You can search here for weapon list, and you can find it right here. Okay, in my case, this is mine. Okay, you can see that it is an array. Okay, because when you create your own variable, it will be like this. It will be a single variable. Okay, but in our case, we need an array. Why? Because our character will handle multiple weapon, and each weapon will have its design and its damage. Okay, to avoid having a bunch of variables here. We are using this structure handling all our weapon variables. Okay, so to transform your single variable into an array, you just go here and click array, and that's it. You will have the same variable as me. Of course, for the default value, you need it empty. It's important. Okay, you need it empty. And now, sorry, I have an error. I will just correct this. I had this error because I have modified the name of the static mesh variable here while it was already set on my character blueprint. So let's carry on. Now we have created a branch here. The condition will be you drag your character weapons, okay, which is our weapon list structure, and here you search for last index, okay, last index, and from this integer you will search for equal, and here you will create another variable. You will it is an integer variable. Okay, you just click here and select integer and name it max weapon. What is this variable used for? This is a variable telling our character how many weapon it can hold, okay, or it can uh, take. So in your case, if you want just two weapons, for example, in your default value of the variable max weapons here, sorry, it is no, it should be a single variable like this. And here for the variable default value, you will set it as 2. Okay, guys. So this is the maximum amount of weapons held by your character. I hope it is clear. Okay, let's carry on. So you just link your variable here, like me. This is my setup, and from this equal condition, you will link to the branch that we created before. After that, we will drag our character weapons once again, and from our variable we will type add like this. Okay, guys, and here we will split this variable, and you from the static mesh of the weapon blueprint you will link it here, and once again you drag from your weapon blueprint and search for the variable damage, okay, like this, and you add it here, and this is the result. Great. So from the false output, you will add your new weapon to your character weapons variable and set its design or its static mesh and its damage. So now our character, now that it is holding a weapon with a specific amount of damage and a static mesh. After that, you will create another branch, okay, like this. You will create another branch, and you need to create a new variable named selected weapon. As its name tells us, it is the variable telling our character what weapon it is holding. So you will name it selected weapon, like me, selected weapon. Okay, guys, and you will use it here with this branch. Okay, so use the equal node, and here you need it as -1. I will explain. So the default value of our selected weapon must be -1. Okay, guys. So set it as -1 like this. You will understand everything just now. Okay. So if it is true, you will set our character static mesh weapon like this. Set static mesh. Okay, and here you will drag it from our weapon or picked up weapon blueprint static mesh like this. You link it here. Okay, so now when our character step on a weapon while its selected weapon variable is -1, it will have its weapon static mesh on the back of the character set as the weapon picked up. Great. Okay. So this is exactly what I have here. And if it is false, okay, we will just destroy the weapon that was on the ground. In the both case, we need to destroy the weapon that was on the ground. Why? Because actually we are not really picking up the weapon, this weapon. We are setting our character weapons variable and our static mesh weapon of the character, the same exact data of the weapon on the ground. So now let's summarize. Once our character step on a weapon, it will cast to the weapon blueprint. If it is really a weapon blueprint, it will check if my character weapon variable is empty, okay, or it is at least less than the max weapons variable, okay, because otherwise my character can just pick all the weapons on the map, okay. So after that, if it is true, it will do nothing, but if it is false, it will add it on the character weapons variable with its damage and static mesh variables. After that, sorry, it will check if my character is holding already or using already a weapon. If it is true, sorry, no, it is -1. So if it is not using a weapon, if it is not using a weapon, which mean by the true output, it will set its back static mesh. Sorry, here it will set its back static mesh as the same static mesh on the ground that just picked up. If it is not, it will just destroy the actor. Okay, guys. So now we are at this step like this. So now we need to create a system to use the weapon and switch between the two weapons like this. Just let me set this weapon different from the other one like this. So now I have a sword and an axe. So let's carry on. Let's go back to our character blueprint here. And now this is the logic of using and switching between the two weapons. So in my case, I have selected the wheel up mouse as an event for switching the weapon. So now if I press the or I just turn my mouse wheel up, I will have a branch here. Okay, this branch will use two conditions. The first one is if our character weapon's last index like this is greater than -1. Okay, why? Because you can see here in my character blueprint, I have no weapon. If I click plus, you can see that the first weapon is actually indexed as 0. So 0 on the character weapon is actually a weapon. This is what I need to check if my last index is greater than -1, not 0, in order to tell our logic that our character is handling at least one weapon. So I hope you understand. After that, this is the first condition. And the second condition is I need to compare two variables. The first one was the selected weapon that we created here. Okay. The second one, we are going to create it now. You, as usual, you click add and name it last weapon and you set it as an integer with a default value of 0. Okay. And here you can drag it. Right? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Last weapon. Okay. And here you will type not equal like this, and you select your select weapon. There is it. Okay. And now you have the exact configuration as me. So now we need to get this node. You just type and bool and you will have it. Okay, so link the first condition here, the second condition here, and the output here in this branch, and this way you will have my setting. So let's hit compile. After that we need another branch. Always you create a branch. This branch will check if our last index of the character weapon is 0. Okay guys, This is important because here you can see that my character is directly using its weapon, but if I take another weapon, my character will first range the first weapon and then use another weapon. Okay, guys, this is why I have done this branch. So here, this branch will check if our character weapon last, sorry, last index is equal to 0, and the condition will be just here. On the true output, guys, I will have another branch. This branch will check if the last weapon variable is set as -1. If it is true, it will do nothing, but if it is false, I will set my back weapon here, okay, remember my back static mesh as the same static mesh of my character weapons variable, but in the index of 0. So you can do this by drag your last weapon here, you type equal, okay, -1, you link to the branch, and that's it, okay. So you leave the true as it is, but the force you will drag your weapon here and set static mesh like this, okay, guys. And from your character weapon here, you get reference of the 0, and you split this director and link the static mesh to new mesh, and that's it. Okay, after that you will set the selected weapon. Remember, the selected weapon default value is -1, so now you need to set the selected weapon as 0. So the 0 is the first weapon that we are using, and also you will set the last weapon as 0. And after that, we are going to play a montage or an animation of our character taking its sword or its weapon, okay? And you can see here I have an anim notify just in this moment when our character is taking its weapon. You can get it by right click and select montage notify, okay, guys? And this is the output triggered at this moment, okay. This is on notify begin. You are going to use an attach components to component node, attach component to component node. Just select any one, the weapon one like this, okay. So now the parent will be our character mesh, the target it will be the weapon, of course, but at first our weapon was attached to the weapon socket. Remember this one, okay, remember it was that socket, but now we are going to attach it to our right hand socket. So of course you need to have another socket. You go to your right hand skeleton like this, and you add a socket and name it equipped weapon. And you can see here my socket name is equipped weapon. Just make sure to have the exact name of your socket and you put it here. And of course for the location you select snap to target here, and also for the rotation, no, doesn't matter for the scale. And that's it, guys, okay. I will remove this. Now we are at the last part, which is setting the last weapon as -1. Okay, so you are going to tell me to ask me why have I set it as 0 here. It is actually because of this node, because if I don't do this, I will have a perpetual animation, looping animation of taking weapon like this. Okay, so this is the condition prohibiting this to happen. Okay, so this is the first part of switching weapon, which is the part where we have only one weapon, remember, okay, if it is true. But if it is false, which means we have more than one weapon, okay, here we will have two animations. The first one is for the range. We will range our weapon like this. You will see like this. And the other animation will be to take the second weapon. So let's do it. Here you will set your selected weapon as selected weapon plus 1. Okay, set and get, and here you click plus, you will have this, set it as 1, link it here, and you will have this part. And the last weapon, you will set it as the output of the selected weapon. After that, I need to create a branch. This branch will have the condition of if our selected weapon is equal to max weapon, because remember, max weapon is the maximum amount of weapon handled by our character. Okay, so it must not go more than this. If it happen, it will automatically go back to 0. Okay, I need to set my selected weapon 0. For example, the sword is 1, the axe is 2, and if the max weapon is 2, which is this case, it will detect it and it will go back to 0 like this. I hope you understand the idea. So that's what we are doing here. And if it is true, you set the selected weapon and last weapon to 0, 0. Once again, I am setting last weapon and selected weapon to 0, 0 in order to avoid repetition and use this condition. So if it is false, which means that I can go further, I will play an animation of ranging. Okay, I will range my weapon, which is the same animation as taking weapon. Okay, by the way. Okay, if it is false, if it is true, it will first set the selected weapon and last weapon as 0 before using this animation. Let's talk about on notify begin. Okay, so on this moment, okay, we have an event that we created before while selecting on montage notify. On the on notify begin output, we will have an attach component to component node, which is the same one as here, but here, of course, the target will be the weapon and the parent the mesh as before, but the socket will be the weapon on the socket on the back of our character again, okay, because we are ranging our weapon. And then if the animation is completed, I will trigger, I have this output triggered, and then I will set the static mesh of my weapon, this one, okay, remember, like this, set static mesh, okay, it will be my character weapon, and I will get a reference, and now the reference is the selected weapon. The selected weapon is this one. Now it is the second weapon, which is the first plus 1, okay, and now I will have my second character weapons on my character weapons list. That's it. Now I will link this output here, and after that I will use, you can see the moment that we are talking about is this one, you will see. Okay, now I have two weapons. When I turn my mouse wheel again, I will have ranging my weapon, and now you can see that my back static mesh weapon has been set to the second weapon. Great. So now when it is set as the second weapon, I will take it. Of course, I will use the same animation as here. Okay. I will use this animation again, and of course again at this moment on the notify begin, I will use the attach component to component. Once again, it will be the right hand. Don't forget the snap to target, guys. Okay, and here the last weapon will be selected weapon -1 because it is the last weapon. And that's it, guys. We have finished our taking and switching weapons tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and see you in the next tutorial.